Hey everybody, and Tony here with a review of Mozart's Die Zauberflöte at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, starring Nina Minasyan as the Queen of the Night, Heidi Stober as Pamina, Alexandra Hutton as Papagena, Matthew Newlin as Tamino, Simon Pauli as Papageno, and Tobias Kira as Sarastro, alongside Daniel Cohen on the podium. This was also the same production I saw about 2 to 3 years ago, with Günther Krämer on the director's chair, with set designs and costumes done by Andreas Reinhardt. I was mainly looking forward to this opera mainly because of Nina Minasyan's interpretation of the Queen of the Night, which she has been performing all throughout Europe. She is also quite young and very much a rising talent as of the 21st century. So I was mainly looking forward to her performance because, number one, I've only heard a couple of clips of her on YouTube, and I thought she did very well, but the big question was, how does she fare live? And number two, this role, as I stated before, is a very iconic role for any coloratura soprano, and a young singer like her probably has a lot of big shoes to fill in. In fact, a lot of my favorite Queens of the Night involve the likes of Zari Barabas, Vilma Lipp, Erika Kut, Christina Durtekom, Christiana Eda Pierre, Christiana Zorel, Silvia Gesti, Rita Shane, Edda Moza, Ursula Kossuth, Luciana Serra, Edita Gruberova, Mariela Devia, Sylvia Greenberg, June Anderson, Joanna Vosch, Helen Kwon, Darina Takova, Elena Moshuk, Svetlana Nikitenko, Mary Dunleavy, Laura Claycomb, Laura Aiken, Erika Miklosa, Diana Dambrau, Clara Kolonich, and even the likes of Jessica Pratt and Albina Shagimuratova, just to name a few. So the fact that there is a lot of expectations for this wonderful young singer definitely is quite daunting, but I'm sure this is also a very wonderful challenge because she's also been performing this iconic role in a lot of the European opera houses. So the big question is, how did Miss Minasyan fare tonight? I thought she did very, very well in this iconic Mozart coloratura soprano role. First of all, I really love her musicianship. How she was able to pace herself in her two arias was just something to be recognized with. She was able to have a very focused and clear tone all throughout the evening, and even though she didn't have Christina Dörtekom's weight or even Edda Moza's anger and dramaticity, she managed to really pull it off very well with a fine sense of musicianship, a very focused voice, and a very wonderful technique, which she was able to pull off very, very well. Over the years, we have seen Miss Minasyan specialize in some character roles, primarily like the Second Lady and Princess Ninetta, and then we've seen her grow into the more coloratura roles like Amina from La Sonnambula, Gilda from Rigoletto, and of course, the Queen of the Night. And I can tell just by her performance that there is a really, really bright future ahead for this wonderful young singer. She really made the role her own. Yes, she did have a little bit of shortcomings here and there, like her opening aria was actually pretty good, though her high F wasn't really that sharp, but she was a lot better in Der Höhle Rache, unleashing her great musicality, and she really hit those high Fs very, very well. It was a massive improvement over her first act aria, and I really felt that she really pulled it together, not only in the second act, but also in her final moments. And her acting was also quite well done. She didn't go too over the top, nor was she totally wooden. She made sure that the queen was a calculating and cold woman while feigning a little bit of being emotional in the first act, while still maintaining that sense of calculation and that sense of how do I get from point A to point B without trying to lose my top. And she does her characterization very well, just really keeping everything together. But more than anything, I have to give Miss Minasyan a lot of kudos for her musicianship and her overall clarity of voice, which is not easy to pull off. So I really have to give my hat off to Miss Nina Minasyan for a job well done in this wonderful role. And I could definitely tell that she has a bright and wonderful future ahead of her with a lot more wonderful roles for the coloratura soprano voice and a lot more awesome engagements for this wonderful singer. And we have her Pamina, sung tonight by the wonderful light lyric soprano Heidi Stober. Pamina is, without a doubt, one of Heidi Stober's signature roles of all time. She's been singing this in a lot of opera houses from the Americas to Europe and maybe to some Asian countries. She has been lauded by a lot of fans and critics for her portrayal of this wonderful Mozart soprano role. They love her vocally, and they even love her acting capabilities. And I have to say that I have to agree with a lot of the critics and the fans of Miss Stober. She really pulled off Pamina with such flying colors. She gave her a lot of dimension, a lot of spunk, a lot of vivacity, a lot of liveliness, and a great amount of character. She was able to make Pamina the very loving and loyal friend to Papageno, the faithful lover to Tamino, to a daughter figure to Zarastro, to a confused daughter to the Queen of the Night, and to someone who is trying her damnedest to really reject a lot of Monostatos's advances. She really gives off a very well-rounded and very wonderful portrayal of her signature role, and I also have to give her a lot of kudos for everything that she pulled off. She manages to combine a lot of lyricism with agility and a lot of really great acting chops to embody this iconic Mozart character, and she did fabulously all throughout the evening. There was not one single note that was sour. She was able to pull off everything very, very exceptionally. Her technique is of the highest order. Her agility is flawless. And her singing was absolutely mellifluous and versatile. She really held it together very well, and she was absolutely wonderful in this signature role. Then we have the other role, even though it may not be as great as the Queen of the Night or Pamina, we have Papagena, sung tonight by the equally wonderful Alexandra Hutton. I've also seen her in this role about 2 to 3 years ago, and she did very fabulously as well. She really enjoyed playing this character, as I could really tell. She had a lot of fun really embodying this wonderful character role, and she manages to bring a lot of delightful moments with this really fun and really engaging character. She was able to be such a natural comedian without being too farcical, and her singing, as to be expected, is very well done. She has a very crystalline and scintillating voice. Her technique is absolutely gorgeous, and her stage presence is versatile and absolutely magnetic. And from what I've been hearing in her voice, it seems as though that she is very much a Pamina in the making, as her voice seems to get a little bit fuller and a little bit rounder, yet still maintains that silvery and scintillating quality, which I absolutely love in Madame Hutton. She was able to pull off this wonderful character very well, and her chemistry with Simon Pauli as the Papageno was absolutely well done. With that said, these 3 magnificent female soloists did very exceptionally in these wonderful Mozart soprano roles. And how about our main hero, Tamino, who was sung tonight by Matthew Newland? As to be expected, he was a very fine musician and a very engaging actor. He didn't go too over the top, nor was he too wooden, and his musicianship, as to be expected, is of the highest order. The way he was able to navigate those florid passages and maintain such a lyrical quality to his voice was absolutely wonderful. And he was able to have such wonderful moments with Heidi Stober as Pamina. He really owned it as Tamino, as he has been for the last few years. He was absolutely amazing in this role with a very handsome stage presence and an equally agile, lyrical voice which he manages to manipulate excellently. And then we have Papageno, sung tonight by Simon Pauli, who manages to make him a natural comedian without being too clownish nor too farcical. Everything just came so naturally in Mr. Pauli as Papageno. He was able to make him lovable, amiable, and an overall jovial soul, which he did fabulously, and his singing was so well done. It's focused, it's mellifluous, it's homogeneous, and I definitely love every single moment he was on stage. He made me have a huge grin on my face just by watching Mr. Pauli do his thing as Papageno. He was absolutely wonderful. Then we have Tobias Kehra as Zarastro. Over the years, I have watched this basso grow and grow and grow, and he continues to give the goods with his fine basso profondo voice, and his stage presence is equally as magnetic and powerful. Derek Welton's Speaker of the Temple was also wonderfully sung. He's a very handsome figure on stage, and his voice is absolutely amazing. A true professional dramatic baritone, and I would love to see him in a lot more starring roles in the near future, because he has one of the finest dramatic baritone instruments out there, and he continues to deliver the goods with such finesse and a fine timbre. Then we have the role of Monostatos, sung by the superb character tenor Burkhard Ulrich, who manages to sing his role extremely well and give a lot of dimension to this otherwise extremely thankless character role. He's able to have a lot of fun with doing Monostatos, and as I said before, his singing was, as to be expected, very well done. Then we have the three ladies combining the voices of Adriana Ferfetska's scintillating lyric soprano voice with Rebecca Jo Loeb's creamy lyric mezzo voice and Judith Kutassi's dramatic mezzo contralto voice, even though I would have loved to have a slightly more lyrical voice. But still, these three were superb. Their chemistry with each other was engaging. They had a lot of fun doing the three ladies, and their singing was of the highest order. They sang very mellifluously, very scintillatingly, and they had awesome, awesome chemistry from beginning to end. And with that, I have to give Miss Ferfetska, Miss Loeb, and Miss Kutassi a great amount of kudos for pulling these wonderful roles very well. And the three boys who were sung by the soloists of the Tölzer Knabenchor was also very well done. These three had wonderful voices which sounded like angels. Their stage presence was charming and equally as magnetic and quite endearing as well. I definitely enjoyed watching these young boys really give it their all in terms of their performance and in terms of their musicianship. And we have the two priests sung by Steven Bronk and Gideon Poppe. They were so full of charisma and enthusiasm, I practically was so immersed in their performance, especially in their little duet. These two gentlemen really gave it their all in such fine character roles. And then we have the two armed men sung by Clemens Biba, a once former Tamino, and Andrew Harris, giving off such magnificent voices, and their musicianship is of the highest order. So overall, I am absolutely impressed by the quality of the singing that I was able to hear tonight. And I have to give all the singers a great amount of kudos, and I have to really hand it to them for being such great pros. And the conducting done by Maestro Daniel Cohen was quite solid as well. I would have loved to have a little bit more lento moments in the opening parts of the overture and some of Sarastro's numbers and even the priest's chorus as well, but what he did tonight was absolutely solid, paying close attention to the text and making sure that his singers and chorus members and the orchestra really came together in harmony. And the chorus was absolutely well done, with the wonderful William Spalding heading such a magnificent chorus, like the chorus members of the Deutsche Oper Berlin. So overall, I really have to give my hat off to Nina Minasyan, Heidi Stober, Alexandra Hutton, Matthew Newlin, Simon Pauli, Tobias Kera, and all of the other fine men and women involved in this awesome production of Zauberflöte for being such great pros. And this was definitely one of the great ways to really wrap up the 2015 to 2016 season of the Deutsche Oper Berlin. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for my review of Offenbach's Le Conte d'Hoffmann at the Komische Oper Berlin. So until then, good night, everybody.